Good afternoon guys, and welcome back to Nick's Veggie Patch. It's on a rain soaked Tuesday afternoon. I've come down to the allotment because I've decided while we're in lockdown, why not make a few short videos. There's nothing else really we can do apart from, obviously, if you're like me, go to work, come home. So I thought I'd come down and make a short little video about stuff that I make and build on my allotment and all the stuff that I use to make the items that I build. So obviously I showed you the long video over the weekend where I built this raised bed using scaffolding boards. So what I thought I'd do today was show you how I make a raised planter using the leftover boards that I've got. Now I've already started to make it. I've just got to make a few little adjustments. I made one of the boards slightly longer than the other, so I've just got to trim it up a little bit. But once that is completed, that's going to be a raised planter that we can use to put herbs in or flowers, and it'll go somewhere on our plot. But I thought I'd just make this short little video to show you some of the stuff that I have made myself since I've been on my plot, which is about 2 years, nearly 2 years coming up to. So yeah, what I'm going to do, obviously, as you can see, this one here, I'm in the process of finishing that, so hopefully that will be finished today. And then I'm going to take you round the plot, show you some of the stuff that I've either reclaimed or built myself from scratch, because I kind of wanted to do that when I got my allotment plot 2 years back. I didn't want to shell out loads of money on these already purpose-built raised beds you can get, so I decided to make my own, and I'm going to show you that as I walk you around the plot, or show you some of the ones that I've actually made myself. Okay, so I'll come back to you in a minute, guys. Okay, the first one I wanted to show you guys is actually outside my greenhouse and polytunnel, is this table here. Now, it looks like a table that you would find in a pub garden, and it is very similar. Now, I made this out of an old futon put me up bed. So me and the wife had a futon bed in our second bedroom that we have, spare bedroom for guests to sleep on. It was a pull-out one, and we wanted to get something better. So I decided I would make use of all that wood, and I turned it into this table, and then varnished the table using the wood seal, basically, to make sure that it didn't rot. But yeah, this was made out of a futon bed, and the mattress that we had left over, it was in our carport for a while for our 3 cats to sleep on. But that's what I did with an old futon bed. I've got to support it a bit more this year because it has become a little bit wobbly. The screws have come loose, but yeah, that's something, guys, you can make. And I did that because we wanted somewhere down our allotment to sit. So we've got a little bit of space between our greenhouse and our polytunnel, and we wanted somewhere to sit and have a drink when it was nice and warm. And we were down here doing our plot, and we wanted to sit for 5-10 minutes, just have a relax, have a drink. So yeah, I built that. So that, as I said, was using a futon bed. So what I'll do now, guys, is I'll show you a couple of other bits that I've built. and then I will get cracking on with finishing off that raised planter that I want to make. Okay, welcome back guys. Again, I'm stood by the greenhouse. You can see this wooden planter in front of me. I also made this, and this was made out of pallets that I got from one of my local sites. We've got a place where I live where they sell concrete, they sell concrete slabs like that. They do all sorts, and what they do is any pallets they've got left over, whether they're broken or still relatively in good condition, they allow members of the public to take them for free. So that was one I built using those pallets. Also from this place, they had these square raised planters. Well, they weren't raised planters, had these square tubs, wooden pallets, and what they had, or what they contained, were paving slabs. So different types of paving slabs. I believe when I got them, the gentleman who allowed me to have them, they were also free, said they had Indian paving slabs in them because Indian paving slabs were quite heavy and couldn't be put onto normal pallets. So what I did was I took them, and I took, I think I collected 5 in total, and I've been using them for my potatoes. Also there was some old lining that was down here on my plot. I kept that rather than throwing it away, and I lined all these wooden bins, and then I filled them with soil, and I've been putting potatoes in them ever since, and they are just absolutely fantastic. Again, their raised bed that's got my strawberries in, they needs a bit of a clean out, trim back all the strawberries. That again was made out using old pallets. Again, that one there, it was some sort of small pallet thingy. I just trimmed it up a little bit, and I've got my rhubarb in there. So as you can see guys, I like reclaiming stuff and then using it on my plot. The wooden hut there, someone was getting rid of it for free on a website that I go on, which is local to me, and I went round, collected it. It's in good condition, and I store most of my bits and bobs in here. As you can see, it's got all my netting, other various bits and pieces. But yeah, that was absolutely free, and I made use of it on my plot because I didn't want to fork out loads of money on getting a proper one. Okay, so I'm going to show you some of the other bits on my plot guys, and I'll come back to you in a minute. Okay, these raised beds here, obviously I didn't make the wood was already made. I purchased it from a local builders merchants, or a place that does things like that. Made my own raised beds up, dug them into the ground, and then what I did was I got loads of bark. I put some weed fabric down, filled it with bark. Again, another pallet that I've reconditioned and turned into a planter. This one here was already made up, got that from the skip as well, or had the metal sides. I thought absolutely perfect, and it had a piece of board going down one part of it, and I use this mainly to plant salads. So I put spinach in it, rocket, radishes, yeah, all sorts of bits and pieces. They come in really handy. And then I've put the blue piping around it, because this, sometimes I put the netting over it to stop snails, slugs and any other unwanted visitors from getting to it. We've had foxes on our allotment, sometimes you see the old rabbit. But yeah, again guys, as I said, using everything I can at my disposal. My mother and father-in-law had a plastic raised bed they brought years ago, didn't want it, so they gave it to me and I make use of it. I'll show you a few other things that I've made, guys, on my plot, and then I better get cracking on with trying to make that raised bed. Okay guys, here is my compost bin I used with pallets. Yep, making pallets. The place that I work, sometimes we have broken pallets that we can't send back out, and I asked my boss if I could have some, and he said yep, help yourself. So I took 4 of them and I made my own raised bed, because originally on my plot there was a tin, corrugated tin place for dumping for making your compost, corrugated tin compost bin. I didn't like it, it looked unsightly. It was on here from the previous tenant, so I knew someone who runs his own gardening business, a bit like my friend Dave Dixon, and he came down, saw it, said could I have it. I said yeah, and he made a compost bin for a lady that he works for, just outside of where I live, out of where I live, so in a little village. But yeah, he made use of it, and I made the compost bin out of pallets from work. But yeah, really good. It's lasted quite a long time. Eventually it might need refirming up again, but again, there you go guys, I love to recondition things, and that is my compost bin made out of pallets. Also, I've got another raised bed there which has got my English lavender in it. I love lavender, so I thought, yep, let's plant lavender, and I've got a bit of French lavender in there as well. And I made the wife a fruit cage. Some people make fruit cages, or they buy them, you can get the metal structures with the netting on it. I decided again, use some old pallets. I screwed them together, I put the netting around, and we've got 3 different types of fruit tree in here. Needs a bit of a clean out because it's got a bit weedy at the moment, but hopefully, I think there's gooseberries, raspberries and one other thing on here. Hopefully we'll get some little fruits off of them this year. But again, I like to make stuff out of reconditioned things, and if you can get something for nothing, guys, I would always say yeah, go for it, because it's always handy if you can get something for nothing. It saves you a lot of money. Another raised bed here made out of pallets. I put chard in here. So basically, I do a thing, guys, called intercropping. You may have heard of it. So basically what it is if you've got 2 or 3 things in one raised bed, and you harvest something, or you've got the thing called the hungry gap, where it's that halfway through the season where normally you don't have anything ready to pick. So what I normally do in a raised bed, if it's full up, so I'll give you an example. So for instance, this raised bed here has got 2 different types of chard. If I had the chard and some beetroot and some butternut squash in here as well, and there was a space in between the chard, the beetroot and the squash, and it was just enough space, I would put something else in there, and that's what we call intercropping. So as soon as one thing comes out of your raised bed that you harvest, whack something else in there. It's a terminology used by lots of people. One of them is, I learnt it from a gentleman called Charles Dowding and a young lad called Hugh Richards. They both have their own YouTube channels. They are very popular. They also have their own books out. But yeah, and they just said to make use of your raised beds 100%, always make sure, if you want to grow loads and loads of stuff, make sure your raised beds are always full. So if you take something out because it's ready, instead of leaving that area empty, fill it with something else. As long as you're not putting something in there that's going to grow up so high that whatever you put in there gets blocked and the sunlight doesn't get to it. But if you've come across a gap in your raised bed and you want to put something in there because you took something out like potatoes or you took something out like cabbage, then fill it with something else. And that way you'll always have something growing in your raised beds, and it also helps you to try and avoid the hungry gap. Okay, well, I'm going to get cracking on now, guys, and try and finish this raised bed. But that was just a little bit of a sort of guided tour of things I build myself on my plot, and hopefully that will give you lots of inspiration. And if you ever need any advice or tips, then don't hesitate to leave me a message on my YouTube channel, and I'll always reply and get back to you. So I'll come back to you in a minute, guys, when I've hopefully finished this planter. See you in a minute, guys. Right, guys, welcome back. There you can see one raised planter made up using the rest of the scaffolding planks I had left. If you can't see through the other side, that's because I had some old plastic sheeting, obviously, that I grabbed from work, and I've put it on the bottom. I've nailed it to the bottom of the raised planter, and I've put lots of holes in it. So basically what this one will more than likely do, it will sit somewhere on the plot, on the floor. It will stay where it is. We'll dump some compost in, and then we'll use whatever we're going to use it for, whatever we plant, whether it's herbs, flowers, or any sort of vegetable. And I've put the holes in so I can have drainage coming out. I've put loads of holes in drainage. As I say, that's been made using what I had left of the scaffolding boards. I got one tiny little piece left, but yeah, as you can see, for the amount of boards I had about 4 scaffolding planks. They were about 13 foot, cut in half, and I've made use of them all on my plot, so you can see the fantastic raised bed inside my polytunnel. And now you can also see the one I've made using the remaining scaffolding planks. But yeah, there you go, guys. It's a little bit longer video than I was gonna plan to make, but this is just showing you what you can use if you buy things like scaffolding planks that they can't use anymore, or even pallets, old broken pallets. You can make use of everything, you know, as I've shown you. A futon bed, we were just going to get rid of it, and I made use of it and made a table out of it. So basically everything pretty much on my plot has been reused and turned into something. Even my vegetable rack inside my greenhouse, my missus just wanted to throw that away, and I said, no, if you don't want it anymore, you don't want it in the flat, don't throw it away. I'll take it down the allotment and I will make use of it. Now that, just a quick heads up, I was going to have it in the greenhouse, but now I think I'm going to have it just here in the corner in the polytunnel. So basically, if I'm in here, we want to plant stuff, I can actually pot stuff up in here and then put it straight into the raised beds. But there you go, guys. Just a quick short video on stuff you can do. If I make anything else, I'll be posting some more short videos. But for now, guys, that's it from Nick's Veggie Patch. I hope to see you all at the weekend when I do one of my normal videos. But as for now, stay safe, guys, and I will see you at the weekend. Comment, like and subscribe.